It is now time for the legal landscape. Our topic today, can the bank keep my money? What the failure of Silicon Valley Bank means to Jamaica. Just in case you haven't heard, 5 days ago, it was the 16th largest bank in the United States, Silicon Valley Bank, which failed and was seized by the California Department of Financial Protection. The bank had custody of around $172 billion in deposits. Should I say that figure again for you? US $172 billion in deposits, which is more than 10 times higher than the total value of all the goods and produced, all the goods produced and services provided by Jamaica in a single year. To make that more clear, right? Now, despite its size, Silicon Valley Bank was unable to satisfy all the withdrawal requests provided by its customers, which led to a good old-fashioned run on the bank on March 10 of this year. So what does that mean for Jamaica? How can our lawmakers ensure that our commercial banks and our bank customers do not meet the same fate? To assist us with this topic, we are joined by Jonathan Morgan, a partner at DunnCox Attorneys-at-Law. Thanks for joining us again, Jonathan.
Dion, it's a pleasure to be here as always.
Well, today it really is a pleasure because if it's one thing that piques everyone's interest, it is money. So I had to read that as slowly as possible to set the platform for everyone. But first of all, what is a bank run, Jonathan?
I am glad you did set the platform because it's alarming to hear what happened across at Silicon Valley Bank. But on that first question, a bank run. A bank run is a situation where many depositors of a bank try to withdraw their funds at the same time. And it's usually due to concerns about the bank's financial position. So that type of situation can lead to a result where the bank does not have enough cash on hand to meet all the withdrawal requests. Mm-hmm. Across at Silicon Valley Bank, the run collapsed the second largest bank to have failed in this nature in American history. So it's really hard not to pay attention to it. I mean, this type of thing does not happen on a regular day-to-day basis.
Not at all. But let me ask you on behalf of everyone, can bank runs also happen in Jamaica?
They certainly can. I mean, Jamaica is in no way unique in relation to its treatment of banks. And the recent bank run happened because customers attempted to withdraw $42 billion in a single day on March 9 of 2023. And Silicon Valley Bank did not have the cash on hand to meet those withdrawals. So the same thing can happen in Jamaica if many customers try to withdraw their funds from a single bank at the same time and the bank does not have the cash. I know that from as early as 1946, the law in Jamaica allowed commercial banks to operate with only a portion of their deposits held in a vault. That vault is usually at the Bank of Jamaica. That's where the reserves are held. And some listeners may be surprised to hear, but it is a normal part of our legal system to allow banks to perform what is known as fractional reserve banking. So fractional reserve banking is that system that led to what people are now calling an extinction-level event for Silicon Valley Bank customers. It really has a lot of threat inherent in a system of that nature.
Fractional reserve banking, that's one that we have to think of now in our vocabulary, eh? You've broken it down for us. Is there a way to prevent bank runs from happening?
Well, there certainly is. So fractional reserve banking is a system that allows banks to hold just a fraction of the cash that people deposit in their accounts while loaning or lending the rest of it out to borrowers. So if, for example, our customers deposit $100,000 at NCB, Scotiabank, or any other commercial bank, and the reserve requirement is 10%, the bank would keep just $10,000 in its vault, usually at BOJ, and lend the other $90,000 out for people who wish to take out a mortgage or purchase a car and so on. And that's really how the banks earn their profit. But the threat that comes from fractional reserve banking is that if a large enough number of customers wish to withdraw funds that exceeds the 10% being held by the bank, of course, will not be able to meet those withdrawals. So the ways to prevent that, there are quite a number of different options available to commercial banks to prevent that from happening. One of the ways is to ensure that these commercial banks all have deposit insurance, where the government or a private insurance company will guarantee the safety of the depositor's money while the bank is lending out a large share of it. Another way is for the central bank to act as a lender, providing emergency funding to the banks if they get into any cash issues. They usually call those cash issues liquidity shocks. So that is what people often hear as a bailout from the government. We all know of the 2008 financial crisis in the U.S. that led to a government bailout. And then the final option for preventing bank runs, I would say, is the increasing of that reserve requirement. If the banks are required to hold more cash reserves, they will be better able to deal with customers attempting to withdraw large sums at the same time. So that's another option that's available, but there are many, many potential consequences of this last one. For example, if you increase the cash reserves, it means there's less money available for borrowing, and that usually causes the economic growth to slow, and it also causes inflation to start going down. Yeah, there are many things to consider.
Lots to consider. Jonathan Morgan is partner at DunnCox Attorneys-at-Law on today's legal landscape. Jonathan, what consequences will Jamaica face if the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank is just the start of a banking crisis in the United States?
Well, global financial systems are interconnected. Yeah, simply put, they impact one another when something goes wrong in one country and the other countries interact with that country. So a banking crisis in the United States could have a spillover effect on Jamaican economy, and that could cause reduced trade with the U.S. partners. We know we depend on the U.S. for a lot of our goods being imported into Jamaica. It can also cause a reduced investment flow. Less U.S. currency is coming into the island as a result of a banking crisis, and that can cause the cost of goods locally, just simply our supermarket items, the cost of furniture, the cost of our motor vehicles. All of these things can increase. It also has the potential to hit the Jamaican currency, because a shortage of U.S. currency coming into the island will result in, of course, greater demand for U.S. dollars, and that also weakens the Jamaican dollar as a consequence. But I think a very tangible potential consequence of a banking crisis in the U.S. would also be the decrease in remittances. Now, remittances simply means the sums that many Jamaicans expect to receive from family members or from their friends abroad. I know many of us depend on those Western Union and MoneyGram checks just to keep us going on a monthly basis from family members in the U.S. But the reality is a banking crisis can cause remittances to stop or at least slow down. Yeah, it really has some far-reaching consequences. I don't think we will be safe from a serious banking crisis over there.
So then as a country, Jonathan, how do we protect ourselves from the threats you mentioned?
Well, Jamaica has a number of options that it could adopt. Politically speaking, the Jamaican government may assure up our confidence in relation to our own banking system. They may reassure Jamaicans that their savings are safe and that there's no reason for concern in relation to local bank runs. I know contagion from an international bank run is a serious threat that may also face Jamaica. Our government could also seek to increase its regulatory oversight over the banking sector to ensure that banks aren't taking any unnecessary risks, and to ensure that there are no investment threats that may interfere with the capacity of our institutions to honor withdrawals on a day-to-day basis. I mean, none of us want to go to the ATM, put in our card and press withdraw just to see an error message that says the funds cannot be disbursed. I mean, that's not an outcome we're hoping to look forward to. So it's our hope that the lawmakers continue to protect us through the necessary oversight, the necessary regulation, and they ensure that the bankers can honor their commitment to return the depositors' funds.
Which is why everyone must watch this space.
Definitely.
Can the bank keep my money? What of the failure of the Silicon Valley Bank and its meaning for Jamaica? I want to thank you so very much for breaking that down for us today. Do you have any hashtag, did you know tidbits before you leave?
Sure, no problem. Well, when you go to the bank to make a deposit, did you know that the money is no longer yours? Did you know that it becomes the bank's money and it may lend out or invest it for its own profit? So when you see that account balance reflected, it's only an IOU that the bank promises to honor. It's not actually your money any longer. Yes, it's true.
I can't say I am totally speechless. No one told me that in school.
So, important information to know.
Important information to know indeed. Oh, wow. Jonathan, I don't know if I can tell you thank you today, but attorney and partner at DunnCox, Jonathan Morgan, giving us all these details today on the legal landscape. Thank you, sir.
I'm glad to help, Dion. My pleasure.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you. All the best to you too, sir. Now, if you have any questions about this topic or any other legal queries, you may contact an attorney at DunnCox Attorney-at-Law yourself. I'll give you the number right now, 876-922-1500. You want to go to the website? Go to www.dunncox.com. And it's been a little bit longer today, but what an important topic for us to have for the legal landscape. Do join us next week at 5:33. We'll give you another legal landscape.